Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me and watching a new movie regarding the latest products from the TBS. This is the TBS2603SE edition, a special edition of the HDMI encoder. So, as you can see, the TBS2603SE edition is very small, very handy. It has one HDMI input. It has power connector. It has also network RG45 connector. It is very small, as you can see, and it's very special, mostly because this is the small version, the single version of the most famous, the other famous TBS encoder, the 2605. The 2605 was the encoder with 5 inputs and multiple outputs. We have reviewed and presented to you the encoder last year in 2019. So for 2020 we have the single version. This small but very versatile encoder, it's as you can see, it's mostly dedicated to people with home usage, to small professionals, people who wants to stream their content to YouTube or to social media with a hardware encoder. So basically, professional gamers or professional streamers, they can make use, because the encoder, it allows you to connect your action camera or your computer, and stream your gameplay. It is possible to stream your vlogging, your blogs, and everything would you like to stream to social media. Of course, we're gonna try to cover in this movie, alongside the presentation, also the usage and the web interface, though it's very similar to the interface from TBS 2605. However, there are some modifications, some different functions, which we gonna show them during the presentation of the web UI and the functions, the functionality of this encoder. Of course, anyone can use this encoder. In this movie, we are aiming to teach and to explain every functions and how to use the TBS 2603 encoder. It was a well expected encoder, because many people didn't wanted 5 inputs. They wanted one single input. So the company kept their word, and they have manufactured and released the single input encoder, similar, as I said before, to 2605 encoder. The encoder, it's very small, as you can see in my hand. It's very handy. It doesn't have doesn't have weight. I mean, it's very lightweight. And we hope that the presentation and web UI will assist you and make your life a lot more easier, handling and using for your video streaming tasks this amazing encoder. So we're gonna step to the second part. The second part, as I said, it's the web UI. It's pretty common. As you can see, the web UI is already set up. It's already prepared. So we have a couple of tabs similar to the 2605, such as dashboard, encode board, stream, overlay, extend, options, and so on. We have the system state. We can see the network state. We can see the HDMI connection, and we can see, of course, the one input, which is the main HDMI input, and the second one, the mix function, which is pretty much very similar and basically is identical to the 2605 encoder. So as we said, the encoder, it's mainly similar as the interface to the 2605. As you can see in the dashboard, we have the CPU usage, yeah, with two streams, memory usage, core temperature, and the network traffic on the encoder. Yeah, we can see here right at this moment the encoder is connected to one of my testing PC, one of my work PC, and is streaming some content from YouTube. But if you would like to change, for example, the IP address, you can go to the options and select options and change the IP addresses to accordingly. Because by default, the encoder is coming with 192.168.1.217 IP address. So the encoder itself has also H.265, H.264 possibility of converting the stream, encoding the stream, and sending out on the network. Sadly, it's not 4K. It's only Full HD. So it's 1080p 60 frames per second is the maximum capabilities of this of the encoding. But that's not a problem because you can use, of course, some network outputs. Yeah, so you can add two extra output from the network. Yeah, you have, as I said, the mix and net 1 and net 2 inputs. We're gonna navigate slowly to the interface, yeah, and we're gonna show you how to use different setups, different methods to connect, to use, and to get familiar with the encoder. On the second tab, we can see here overall configuration. The overall configuration which allows us to change the resolution of the mainstream, codec, set the codec, the profiles of the codec, and of course we have the substream and the audio configuration. Right now we are using the high profile, yeah, H.264 high profile, but there is also H.265 main profile, as you can see in the image here. Also for the substream, it's possible to select similar settings as for the mainstream from the HDMI. The rate control is CBR, VBR, AVBR, and fixed QP. The CBR is the constant bitrate. We usually recommend constant bitrate for very big movement content, yeah, such as sports or something like this. And we recommend VBR to static content. There is also AVBR, which is adaptive bitrate. Yeah, the adaptive bitrate is very useful for asymmetric, for ADCL internet connection, where the download is higher than the upload, and it's not symmetrical. So in the constant bitrate, yeah, we're gonna use for this test most likely the VBR because we are mostly streaming for testing purposes static content. We selected the VBR, yes, and the bitrate it's gonna be for the mainstream 4500 kilobyte per second. The frame rate is 60 frame per second. We have the encode configuration, yeah, with the HDMI and the mix. So we only selected the one single input, and we duplicated with the mix. Same input we also used as mix, as encoding mixing. On the below, on the encoding config, we have pretty much the similar configuration as for the overall configuration. Nothing is too different. Setting up, it's not difficult. advanced encoding configuration will allow you to modify a couple of things, such as resolution, such as bitrate, frame rate, and GOP, yeah, GOP. We can enable, yeah. So we're gonna proceed further. Advanced encoding, as I said, resolution, smart encode we have here, and smart pass, and dual pass encoding. So we can normal encode, single pass encode, and smart encode, and also dual pass encode. Low latency, we can set streams to have low latency, no matter of the resolution. Low latency streaming, yeah, it's possible from the encoder. And of course, we have some more advanced configurations, such as full frame rate, the interlace. Yeah, we can turn it on one single main channel. And we can rotate the channel, crop it to the left, crop it to the right, top crop or bottom crop, or whatever you need. If you need some special modifications on the fly over the encoded and broadcasted movie, you can do them from this area, from the video configuration. Some people, professional, will make use of this. In the audio configuration, we can see we have the codecs. It's AAC. It's standard AAC codec. We have PCMA and MPEG-2 and MP3. Of course, we can use the line out or the line in. There is a very small input with line in. I didn't notice on the box, but there is one for sure. Okay, we can use some pre-amplification on the sound if we want the sound to be a little bit more powerful. Yeah, we can select channels and so on. We're gonna go to the stream area. First the network stream. The network stream, of course, this is the area where you can add two extra outside of the encoder streams, IP streams. So you can capture the streams from outside with RSTP in this case, yeah, and you can add them for management inside this encoder, inside the TBS2630SE encoder. It's very easy. They are already set, for example, in this case, and all we have to do is just to turn them on and select either video decode, either video encode. Just fill in the URL for the source, yeah, and the destination is gonna be the encoder, and the final destination will be outputting to the different network. This is in the case you want to use two extra streams from external source. In the dashboard, when you will set up the network, the net inputs, it will show up the extra two images. Okay, this is it. We go to the next tab, the third tab. The third tab is streaming tab. It's overall configuration. From overall configuration, usually you can set for all of the sources or destination, you can apply and make settings. So when you pressing some button in the overall configuration and save it, it will save to local and it will apply to all of the protocols which are or the options which are in the use. In this case, we have enabled only two functions on the main protocol. It's HTTP and RTMP push. We have enabled them. And as you can see on the second tab, you have some advanced configuration. And you can see the HTTP access for the streaming, and the RTMP push, it's enabled. So basically right now the encoder, it's encoding the content which is coming from HDMI, it's mixing it on the mix, which is basically the same content, yeah, and it's HTTP and RTMP push to different areas. We didn't enable the substream, however, not for HDMI and not for mix input. So right now there is set for RTMP push to YouTube. Yeah, there is the substream. We can set it to RTMP push to Twitch, And the mix, we can set it up to RTMP push to Facebook, and of course we have the mix substream, which is also possible to set it up and RTMP push to some Red 5 or any other how it's called social media areas accounts, remote accounts to destination such as social media. There is also TS configuration, stream configuration, TS configuration, and HLS configuration, push configuration, and the play URL. As I said, here are the popular streaming platforms, yeah, such as YouTube, Restream.io, Twitch, Ustream, Woza, and Facebook, and few more others, Red5, and few more others. We are already set, the encoder. Encoder is already set and prepared for streaming to such platforms. We're gonna show you after I will finish explain the web UI and the functions. I'm gonna show you how to set up the encoder, and we're gonna test stream to social media, to Twitch, to YouTube, and to Facebook. With this encoder, content from my PC. We're gonna stream some movies from YouTube movies, and also some gameplay from World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth game. Okay, this is the stream configuration part. So we're gonna go to the TS config very soon. To the TS config. In the TS config, actually, it's already a little bit much more advanced settings. You can operate and modify some TS configuration file and transport stream, TS transport stream things. For example, you can set PIDs, time to leave, PMT ID, service ID, stream ID, network ID. This part usually is used by television operators, by ISP operators, which also providing television operators. Of course, we go further to the HLS config. We can select the length of the segments if we're gonna use HLS advanced configuration, if we want to modify something. And of course, the push configuration, we have some specific formats. As you can see here, we can select a very specific format to push, and add for substream, for mainstream. Already the encoder right now is pushing some streams. If I'm not mistaken, it's pushing to some YouTube private content just for testing. And as you can see here, the URLs, the HTTP and the push protocols are used. You can see the traffic, it's done. It's 1.4, 1.5, up to 4 megabyte, 4.5, because we set to 4.5. Okay, we're gonna go to overlay, because in the overlay there is a very important function in the overlay. Actually, we can add here text, we can add here logo, we can add here moving text, we can add here color text, we can add here small pictures small static pictures, such as a logo or something, over the dynamic picture. It's very simple. Fonts, we can add also fonts, and a few more other things. If you want to personalize in very specific matter your content. Yeah, we're gonna go further. We have the options, not the options, but the video mix. Yeah, here is the video mix. We can select different layouts. We can select the mix with the HDMI input, mix with the grid input, mix with single input, and we can add also different layouts and combine the output, the HDMI with network inputs or anything what we want, also with null inputs. At the moment, we're gonna stick and keep the mix input because this way we will be able to stream two streams simultaneously to social media, two different social media accounts, or one stream to two different social media accounts. Here in the region of interest, you can again personalize, add some specific stuff, such as small animation or small picture or something like this, to personalize your video. Also, we have a little bit more expansion. You can add direct push from this tab. So push configuration can be pushed a lot more. Furthermore, with this specific tab, so you can select add multiple push, not just one or two or three. Basically, with the CPU, which is residing inside the encoder, you are allowed to add up to 4 or 5 different outputs, RTMP push outputs. The only thing is, the only limitation here is the CPU. CPU is not quite the same like in 2.6. The one from the 2605 is a little bit more powerful. The one from 2630SE is a little bit slower, and it cannot do 4K streaming. Anyway, we can select here what do we want to push. We can assign each content, audio, video, and automatically select HDMI on or off, and we can add the path and set properly the stuff. In the system area, you're gonna see we can use the DHCP feature. I'm not using the DHCP feature because it's my network, my home network, not allowing me to use. But usually we can use the DHCP if we want. If not, we can declare a very fixed IP address from this area and set up mask, gateway, DNS, and we can see also the MAC address of the encoder. We can synchronize the time zone of the encoder with the PC. Yeah, so it will check the network and we'll be able to synchronize. We have also scheduled reboot. We have the reboot function, and we have scheduled reboot of the encoder. Also, we have the area where we can, how it's called, change the password, yeah, because it's coming with default password and user and password admin. We can see here the SDK version, the system version, and also the app version, the firmware version, alongside with the firmware upgrade area. In this area, we can upgrade the firmware to the latest version. The firmware, actually, the encoder came with the latest version of the firmware, but I have made some suggestion to the development team, and we suggested also to add VLAN options, because some television operator asked for VLAN feature, VLAN usability with the encoder. And I'm pretty sure in the very near future we're gonna have this VLAN feature up and working. We have two languages, yeah, it's English and Chinese. In the near future also we're gonna add support for multiple language in the web UI. At the moment only English and Chinese is present. Okay, for the next part we're gonna try, as I told you, to set up the content. We're gonna try to set up some streaming to social media. As example, we have prepared already streaming to Twitch, streaming to Facebook, and the streaming to YouTube. The YouTube already set up. We're gonna show you further how to manage, how to set up the entire stuff. So basically, stream to Facebook. As you can see, we're gonna just hit this in the Google. It will open how do I go live using streaming software. Of course, we are using hardware. We're gonna go create live stream. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It will generate the content as you can see, I mean the path. We're gonna use the ingest URLs because using ingest URLs it will make your streams to connect faster and move smoother. And we're gonna use also the how it's called, the streaming key. Actually, it's very simple. You copy the ingest server URL. The best, you can hit the test button on the Facebook page and check which URL is the fastest. And of course, you just copy the URL from here. Yeah, you copy the URL. I didn't press yet. I will press further the ingest to look for a best setup, and copy the streaming key, paste it after the URL, the RTMP push URL. Just press the save and wait for like 3 or 4 seconds, and push configuration is already set. It's not yet operational because I didn't yet started to push, because first of all we're gonna need to check, as I said, the ingest URL. Why ingest? Because ingest URL, as I told you, actually the Facebook it's making some calculations between your encoder and the source, the destination, from the source to destination, and it will show up a list of 3 or 4 or maybe 5 fast speed URLs. It's a fastest route calculation for achieving the best possible connection with the Facebook server. Meanwhile, we're gonna keep trying to set up. Let's see if the speed test to get the live ingest servers, it's kind of taking a little bit of time because it's 3 or 4 or 5 routes are checked. But we hope to manage to get it working. Meanwhile, I'm gonna configure, check again the configuration if it's okay. Yeah, it should be okay. It's RTMPS, so it's not same as YouTube or Twitch, simple RTMP. It's RTMPS. It's a little bit difficult. Have to wait a little bit because of the speed test, and also configuring it takes a little bit of time. It's a little bit of patience, a little bit of time to configure correctly the encoder to make it work with. Okay, here it is. As I told you, we have the server URLs. We have 3. One is the best speed. It's 102, 103 Mbps, 103, 102 Mbps. So we're gonna change here with the ingest URLs, and we're gonna add the streaming key from here. And this is it. It should work. Probably it will take a little bit of time to connect. I'm usually having difficulties, but with patience and with a little bit of troubleshooting, you're gonna get it work, because it's a remote server destination, and always there are some small settings to correct, to add, to set up, to make, to find, and get them working. It's gonna take a while. I'm gonna leave the page and try again, because it seems it didn't connect it. So I hope yeah, with this one I'm gonna try. Let's see. Okay, it's after some modifications I managed to get Twitch working. Yeah, so right now you can see some gaming, World of Warcraft gaming streaming to Twitch, and it's streaming to actually to 2 social media, to Twitch and to YouTube area. What we have set the mainstream and the substream. Yeah, the mainstream is set to RTMP push to YouTube, and the substream is set to RTMP push to Twitch. as you can see, because it's a static image, we didn't fill the buffer on the YouTube, so it needs to have some gameplay to be able to have constant traffic to the how it's called, to the YouTube. Otherwise, the movie it's too small. YouTube is asking for full HD, at least 4 point something, 4.5. 4.5 Mbps per second. This is why still not yet having the stream previewed. But it says the stream is coming and the quality of the stream it's okay. Just it didn't started yet because need a little bit of movement and need to reach the 4.5 Mbps speed. In the Twitch, also here I have opened the HTTP connection to the encoder. So actually there are three sources. It's the content is streamed to three sources. Two RTMP push. RTMP push one, as I said, it's to YouTube. RTMP push of the substream is to Twitch. And the HTTP stream, it's open with VLC in the local network. So as you can see, the encoder is quite capable of managing three streams. It's even capable to manage 4 up to 5 streams. From 5 streams already there are some issues with the CPU. The CPU is gonna get overloaded, overheated, and throttling. Right now with two active streams, we have the core temperature at 70 something degree. The CPU usage is at 31%, the memory usage is 44%. So there is plenty of room, as you can see, to add at least two more outputs for this encoder, two more encoding content possibilities to be added. The network, there are some spikes between 2 megabytes to 2.5 megabytes because the content it's kind of static. If I would do now gameplay on the source machine, it probably will receive up to 4.5 megabyte or something. This is it with the World of Warcraft and of course YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. So professional gamers really could make very good use of this encoder. The good news is that compared to the old 2603 encoder, this encoder is a little bit cheaper. I mean, it's quite cheaper, like 25 to 30 USD cheaper than the regular 2603 encoder. But it also is better, which is very good, because this way we can see that the technology it's getting on the way, and better technology is getting lower prices. Further, I'm gonna do a little bit more of the testing. I'm thinking to test also Facebook. As you can see, it's already set, the Facebook. I have added the mainstream to RTMP push to Facebook. And it's the same gameplay, actually. I didn't change too much. I just changed the URLs and replaced the streaming to YouTube with streaming to Facebook. The only limitation in the streaming to the Facebook, it's the fact that Facebook only 700, though the source, I mean the content which you are sending to the Facebook, it's 1080p Full HD. Facebook is gonna clip and allow only 720p resolution. Yeah, as I said, it's right now it's streaming same content to Twitch and Facebook. It's pretty simple. Once you set the streaming path, the streaming URL, and the key, you have immediately getting the go live button, and you can select different areas with different quality. Yeah, as you can see, we have this is the input 2.37 mbps at 2930 frames per second, 128 kilobytes per second sound, and of course this is the input which is coming from our encoder. But as output, as I said, Facebook, it will not allow more than 720p resolution. That should be okay. I mean, it's okay for people to watch your gameplay or some live streaming from live action cameras or some HDMI cameras which you want to use to stream to the social media. As I said, the price is smaller, with at least 25-30% from the regular. We are selling this on Amazon. In the description of the movie and the presentation, you will find the Amazon links to the product, and you can use the links to purchase it. I would advise you to get it because it's not expensive, it's not pricey, it's a very good quality encoder, and it's very handy, very useful, especially if you are a professional gamer or professional vlogger, video blogger, or things like this. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for allowing us to introduce to you new products. Have a nice day. Bye bye.